Okay, don't worry about the cameras. Like the cameras, it's just you and I are gonna have a conversation.
All right.
Start off by saying and spelling your name for me.
My name is Marlene Miller. Marlene Miller.
Marlene, what were the circumstances that led up to you needing an attorney? What happened?
I was hit head on by a drunk driver. She was going 75 miles an hour, going the wrong way. And I was really critical that wasn't supposed to be alive. They told my son to make funeral arrangements. So then my brother-in-law said to my son, you know, we better get a lawyer. And my brother-in-law was familiar with Neil's success. So my son and nephew went over and spoke with Neil. And he took me, and he is unbelievable. I didn't have to worry about anything. He made everything okay, so I could recover. I was in bad shape.
Do you remember anything after you got hit? Like like were you conscious? Did you?
I saw the car coming at me, and I tried to pull over so she could pass me by, but she came right at me. I don't recall the impact at all. But
Do you remember, like, what was the next thing you remembered?
next thing I remembered was looking down at my foot, and my bone was out. And but I was in and out. And I think the most coherent thing after that would be when the emergency workers came and they had to get the jaws of life, and still couldn't get me out, and we couldn't turn the car off because it was crushed so badly we couldn't turn the key, and he wanted to get me out before it exploded. So they smashed the entire front window and took me out that way. And I remember them carrying me to the ambulance, and blood was everywhere because the glass shattered and it would start to rain. And the next thing I remember was saying I didn't want a catheter. And the guy, I don't know where I was then, and he says, "Lady, you got a lot more problems than this." Yeah.
Do you do you recall the first moments that you met Neil? Like where were you were in the hospital? I'm thinking, or like what was the situation?
Yes, in the hospital. I was in intensive care for over a month, and I was in a coma, so it's in and out. But I liked his appearance and his demeanor, and I was very comfortable with him, and he made me feel that way. If I didn't know how to express something, or I wanted to cry, or whatever, it was okay with him. He came to visit me every week, sometimes a couple of times a week. He called me to see if I was okay, spoke with my son, he met my family, and he took some videos while I was in the hospitals and the care centers. I was in bad shape. I couldn't hardly do anything, but I do remember that. I remember him also. I went to another care center other than Allied, which was absolutely a nightmare. And I remember Neil coming in and, you know, talking with me. I couldn't talk at the time, and I couldn't write because my hand was broken that I write with. So he was the only one that really was getting through to me and understanding by my looks. And I needed prayers. I somehow got that message across, and it turns out he is religious. And I love gifts. And he would always bring like a little religious tchotchke for me, which really, to me, really saved my life, I think. One little story has nothing to do with this, but when my son was at the hospital, he was speaking with the doctor, and the doctor said, "Your mom won't make it. There's no way she can make it." And David said, which is who he is not religious. He said everybody is praying for her. You wouldn't even believe it. And the doctor said to David, I really don't believe in that. So the next night they called for David, and he figured that was it. Took him in a room, and he goes, David, I don't know what to say to you, but your mother made an about face. There was no medical reason. So prayers became very important. Prayers and Neil, he fortified me. Neil did. I was sad, he made me happy. He brought food, which I couldn't eat. You could ask Ann for a year. I couldn't eat. They were putting tubes in me. Now I can't stop eating.
Did he seem, I mean, was that what you would expect from an attorney? Did he
No.
seem like an attorney?
I almost felt like he made me feel like we were going to be friends, and I knew he was concerned just the way he talked. It wasn't always business. And anything I needed, or if I was upset, Ann would even call him, and my insurance, little stupid thing happened, and I don't want you worrying about anything. That's up for me to do. Bills, doctors, even I was afraid to take a shower. And so he said, you know, just make sure there's 2 people with you. And I didn't want to take a shower. I was scared to death. I couldn't walk, I couldn't walk for over a year. So, and I was worried at that time. I had the trach in me. I was afraid of the water getting in. And so I called him, and he said, don't worry about that. And he called Allied and explained, and, eventually I did get a shower. But no, he made me feel...
You're not saying you showered with Neil, are you? Because that would be really awkward.
He said not to mention it.
Okay, good.
Not in front of Kathy, anyway.
I've been trying to get to shower with Neil for years.
Oh, God.
He just will not go to the gym with me. Will not go to the gym.
Oh, my God.
Obviously, we don't want to talk about a settlement amount, but can you talk about which I can't even imagine, the staggering medical bills and the effect that it had on your life, and why, people think like, oh, you're greedy or you want to get as much money as you can, and I don't think they realize the impact that those bills have on your life.
Absolutely. That's one of my... I was going to tell Neil I should go with him when he's speaking to people and tell them about how it does impact your life. And, and I didn't know I would be this way for so long. But the bills are outrageous. And again, Neil said, have everything sent to me. And he spoke to the Allied. He spoke to their accounting departments. Spoke to my doctors. He spoke to people to see what I would need, how to get my house handicapped ready. And he figured out what he figured I would need. He covered everything. I didn't want to lose my home. I didn't want to lose my job, and that happened. I loved my job. And he even talked to them. Any little thing or big thing I needed. He was just as valuable as if not more so than my surgeons and my doctors, who I love. They took tremendous care of me. But I didn't have to ask, what do you think I need, or I want this much money. I even said I just want to be well again. But that's a fantasy, because like I said, I didn't want to lose my home. And I'm always needing something. Another doctor, more therapy. I had 33 major surgeries and 5 others, like seduced surgery. And Joe took care of that. He took care. I had to go to Philadelphia for some surgeries. Another thing that he and his staff were remarkable about was getting me references for the top-of-the-line doctors. There was a doctor I saw here in Scranton, which came highly recommended. He told me I would never talk again. I would never be without the trach. And Neil and his nurse on the staff researched and found this doctor in Philadelphia, which to me she's an angel, and she's really good looking. But she is the head of the trach department at Penn University. And when I went in there, she says, Marlene, work with me. I'm going to, whatever it takes, you're going to talk. Neil's the one that set that up. I could have never got that on my own. And I needed another surgery on my neck, and Neil's nurse recommended, she spoke to the CEOs of the Geiser and everything. That woman found stuff that nobody was finding when they were doing tests. So he took care of my medical needs, my spiritual needs, my financial needs, my psyche, and always was interested in my family, my house, my therapist. He got to know all of them. And when we did, I don't know what the phase of it is called, but when you meet with, what you're going to settle on, whatever that is, he did a presentation that they said they never saw anything like it. One of the lawyers told me that, one of the DAs, and I should be saying that, one of the judges said he does the best. He had in there, there wasn't a dry eye, but he had everything covered. He took pictures of everything so he could show them my wound, how I tried to walk, how I screamed. I cried every day. Could ask Ian from the pain. Is it ever going to end? And in fact, I couldn't even look at it. I started shaking. I had to leave. But
so basically, you're telling me you really don't like Neil at all.
No, I'm so grateful.
Drives you crazy.
Yeah, I love Neil, and not in that way. I just love what he stands for, how he represents his people, and how he takes care of them. He does for you what he would do for his own family.
Did you feel like family?
Yes. Yes. I got to know his children. They're adorable, and his wife. I thought it was his sister. So he said he can't live with her anymore. But Neil's brilliant. Like kidding aside, Neil is brilliant. He expresses himself incredibly well. Like I wish I had that. But he's a genius, and he works so hard. He puts all of his time. He puts all of his time on you while he's working on you. And you have to give Kathy thanks for that, because I'm sure she would want him to be doing a lot more with her or something. But he has you in his best interest. I would recommend him in a heartbeat to anybody.
You think there's a better lawyer out there, or is Neil the best?
Neil's the best. There are some really good ones. But after what I saw and what I heard and how I felt and how I, settled my case, there's nobody better than him. You should see what we did. Like the girl that hit me, she was a lawyer. So they really try to keep that under the rug. And I said, I didn't hear from her, and I told Neil, I said, I want to see her. And he arranged that. And she came in, and all she did was cry. And I hugged her. I said, we're going to get through this. I said, I wanted to see you because I wanted you to see what you did to me. I'm not criticizing you or what you did, but you need to see how I'm impacted. You're here, and she's coming along. She's talking now. She's eating now. And I said, I want you to look at my legs, look at the pipes in my legs, look at the metal, look at my scars. And I said, that's what could happen when you're drinking and driving. I said, so I want you to pray for me. So Neil arranged all of that. And anything that I wanted, he said, I'll do it your way. Here's an idea. I'll do it your way if you want it. Which made me comfortable. I respect his opinion on anything, to tell you the truth. That's how much respect I have for him. I'm sorry. But,
Kathy can't take it anymore. She's out here. She told me she has to.
oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I got red.
How are
Oh, thank God you tell him about my fantasies. He has a fantasy about.
I'm gonna start calling Kathy's sister from now on.
When you got to the part about you listening to all my ideas, she said, "I've had enough."
You did such a good job.
I know.
I'm looking for one little final thing for you to say, all right? And you could say it however you want, but Neil O'Donnell, blank. Just give me that sentence and you fill it in however you want. One sentence.
Neil O'Donnell is the best and most thorough lawyer that you could ever find. And you'll never be disappointed in him in anything. Nothing.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. She's a star.
Wow.